sense.
Absolutely.
Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Macy, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Rvbm.
Here.
Trustee Bowden.
Here.
Trustee Hudson.
Here.
Trustee Richards.
Here.
Trustee Sandberg.
Here.
Trustee Sluse. Trustee Sturba.
We're gonna move on to public comments. Public comments. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We're going to approve the minutes of the July 27th, 2026 regular village board meeting. Approve the minutes of the July 27th, 2026 executive session. Approve payroll and accounts payable. And approve the Knights of Columbus annual intellectual disabilities fund drive, Tootsie Roll Drive, from September 18th through the 20th, 2026. The payroll for the period ending August 1st, 2026. Administration, $12,123.32. Police, $46,573.19. Public Works, $12,933.22, for a total of $71,629.73. Accounts payable for the period ending 7/31/26. General Fund, $16,526.46, for a total of $16,526.46. Moving, I need a motion to.
Motion.
Second. Motion Hudson, second Sandberg.
Trustee Bowden.
Yes.
Trustee Hudson.
Yes.
Trustee Richards.
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg.
Yes.
Moving on to staff and committee reports. I'll throw it to Troy first.
Sure. The MFT project on South Street and 4th Street is underway. They've been doing concrete removals for the curb and the sidewalk. So they'll continue with that, and then later this week, likely possibly Thursday, they'll start Wednesday or Thursday, start framing and pouring concrete. So then after the concrete's done is when they start working on the milling of the street and the asphalt. Moving along.
Very good.
On those concrete streets, are they cutting out parts of those that have sunk?
So what they're gonna do is they're gonna remove 2 inches of the concrete street, or some have asphalt on top. And then we'll see if we need to patch any concrete. And then after that, once it's down to the correct level, they make any repairs, it'll be 2 layers of asphalt over the whole thing.
So even though it's concrete, it's essentially
Yeah.
the same process.
The concrete's actually a better base than stone. It's just old and cracked, but
Yeah.
it's stronger. So yeah,
Okay.
it'll all look asphalt when it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very good. Any other comments? I'm gonna throw it to Bob.
Alright. Got a few things. Troy filled in on MFT. I did receive some news today. Route 50 most likely will not be done this year. It's back in the design stage with IDOT and NICOR. They determined that the gas main from Beecher Road to Wilmington Road is too shallow. So most likely will not be done during this project year. So I'll keep you updated when I hear updates. Troy Fields on MFT. A couple things I've noticed with the weather and the rain we've had the past few weeks, physically driving around town. I think I'm up here every year saying the same thing. Please don't blow your grass in the street. We cleaned basins this week, and all we pick up is grass out of the basins. So I ask residents, please don't do that. Tonight we're going to talk about some salt. It is a statewide issue, a nationwide issue. I know Nick will explain a little more, and then if you have any questions, I can explain more too. So, but that's what I got for you guys tonight.
Very good. So thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Thanks.
Chief is on vacation this week, so there's nothing from the chief. And we'll throw it over to Nick.
So just a couple quick things. As many of you know, we are implementing the BSNA software. So we started last week. thanks to the public, because we had to close for a few periods during last week for the training, but that was beneficial to our staff. That was largely building department, community development work. And this week we're going live, very exciting. And the whole crew from BSNA was here today. But this is going to be very positive, modernizing our systems, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, we will serve the residents and the businesses better with this new system. So that was kind of ongoing work last week, as all of you have participated in the strategic planning. I think that was great. Thanks for the time. I know it's long days, but that's really going to help us plan for the future of Peatone and prioritize things in future budgets. The next step is I will be meeting with Corey, our consultant, to kind of finalize the draft final report, and then she'll come back and make a presentation to this board, and then we'll move forward with implementation of that with the specific metrics and goals we targeted. So, and then last thing, I know most people know this, but just as a reminder that we have the Will County Fair coming up August 26th through the 30th, and the Sip and Stroll is September 10th. So other events that bring people into town. So we'll be having that information available through our media and stuff like that. So thanks.
I just got one little comment. The National Night Out was a good success. Unfortunately, a lot of us sitting here were not able to make it, but it turned out to be a fantastic success. Beautiful night, and I appreciate any resident that attended. Everybody appreciates you coming out. There's no old business. We'll move on to new business, which is audit presentation by Lauterbach and Amon.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Cullerton, and I'm one of the audit managers at Lauterbach and Amon. So thank you so much for having me. I'll keep it short and sweet because I know that's exactly what you want to hear tonight is all about the audit. So I'm going to present the March 31st, 2026 fiscal year end. Before I start and before I jump in, I always like to thank people that make it possible. Nick and Marie, obviously this can't be possible without the people that work here and make it all happen. So it's greatly appreciated because it's always easy to work with. It's always, a clean audit. So it's always greatly appreciated to work with people that you enjoy working with. All right, so I will just jump right in. The first section that I like to point out is on page number 5. So this is our independent auditor's report. So this is where we give our opinion of the audit. So you'll see that we gave a clean or unmodified opinion. So it's the highest opinion that we can give for the audit. So exactly what you want to see when you have an audit. Moving on to page 9. So this is the start of our management discussion and analysis section. So the MD&A, I always like to call this a high-level overview of what the rest of the report will talk about. I always say if there's some people that want to know what happened throughout the fiscal year but don't have a lot of time to read the whole thing, this is kind of a 5 to 15 page section going over details of what those numbers and what the rest of the report will talk about. Easier, just kind of put it all together and have those highlights there. Then jumping into page 19 and 20. So this is the statement of net position on the governmental activity-wide section. So you'll see in the current year, assets and deferred outflows of resources for the fiscal year in 2026 were about $27 million, mostly comprised of cash and investments, your capital assets, and then your IMRF and the police pension as well. On the liability and deferred inflows of resource side, you have about $9.6 million, comprised of your capital, your accounts payable, accrued payroll, some of those police liability, OPEB, IMRF pensions as well. Then jumping into the page 21, statement of activities. This is your revenues and expenses for the year. So total revenues was about $6.5 million, and expenses were about $4.8 million throughout the year. So you have a total change in net position of about $1.6 million as an increase. on the next couple of pages, so pages 23 and 24, you'll see that breakout between funds for the balance sheet items. So you'll see general, your motor fuel tax, so all of your special revenue, your capital projects, and any non-major, so that TIF district. So you'll see in the current year, I know last year there was a deficit fund balance. However, in this current year, that deficit fund balance went away and it went to a positive $195,000 in that business development district, which you will see more on page 27 and 28 with the revenue, expenses, and changes in fund balance on that fund level. All right, and then I will quickly jump into the page 31. So that's, or sorry, excuse me, page 30 and 31. So you have your statement of fiduciary net position. So the police pension trust account. So you'll see the assets, liabilities, and your revenues and expenses throughout the year. And that will lead us into page 32, which is the start to the notes to financial statements. So meat, potatoes of the report, what do those numbers mean, that we briefly went over. Lots to look at here, but I always do like to point out just a couple of pages. So 41 or 42 is one of them. So that is your interfund balances and your interfund transfers. So any of those payables, receivables, and the transfers in and out throughout funds that you'll see there. You will also see on page 43, so the capital assets. There were no decreases or disposals throughout the year, but there were some construction in progress increases, as well as the transportation network and vehicle purchases throughout the year. And then you have your standard depreciation expense. 44 will go on to any long-term debt, so your GO bonds and your installment contracts. And then on page 46 is where you'll see the debt service requirements to maturity, so the principal and interest payments throughout the entirety of those debt pieces. Then from 65, oh my goodness, sorry. You have your supplementary information. So from here to the end of the report is where you'll see the 10 fiscal year trends between IMRF, police pension, and then your budget to actuals throughout the year. I won't go too much into detail, but if you have any questions, please feel free. And then lastly, before I move on and wrap up my presentation, I will quickly go over any management letter comments that we have. So those are that separate packet outside of the bound report. So this is any suggestions, any recommendations, or any pronouncements that are coming out throughout the year with GASB. I know people hear management letter comments. I promise they're not scary. They're more beneficial than harmful, just to say, you know, these are things to improve on or just things to look out for. In the current recommendations section, you have your outstanding check write-off policy. Like I said, just a recommendation. These are things that we see throughout other municipalities, something that we always recommend for our clients to have, just to make sure that any outstanding checks are written off or reviewed more frequently, to make sure that the balances are more up to date. Second is the IT security awareness and monitoring of emerging risks. This is a standard blanket management letter comment throughout all of our clients. So nothing that the village did or did not do, just more so awareness of, you know, we're in a day and age where we are on our computers, we are, you know, moving to new softwares. So making sure that you're looking out for protecting yourself, the data of the company, to the municipality, to yourselves, and things to look out for. Moving on to prior recommendations, you have the collateralization of deposits. Previously, 537,000 was not insured, but moving into this year, we had 427,000. So moving forward, just to look out for that. Bank reconciliations not tying. However, that was a prior recommendation. Because it happened in 25, we have to move it to prior before we can remove it. So next year you will not see that on there because that did not apply to 26 audits. Funds over budget. something to look out for 27's budget, to acknowledge any amendments that might occur because of funds over budget. Deficit fund balance, again, that was something that was applied to 25 and no longer applicable for 26. And then lastly, any upcoming standards, like I had mentioned, GASB is coming out with 103 and 104, and that will apply to the 27's audit, which would be financial reporting model improvements and disclosure of certain capital assets. So more report-based items. Right, that's all I had, but if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Awesome. I'll take silence as a yes.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Two.
You too. Moving on to item B, a new business. We're going to approve a resolution authorizing bulk salt sales agreement with Midwest Salt. This will be resolution 26-R-17.
So this, as many of you know, we usually participate in the Illinois Central Managed Services, or CMS bid, which is a large consortium bid that keeps prices down because of the bulk prices. Unfortunately, as I noted in the board packet, they did their bid and they received no bids. And some of that, I was told, was because there was a salt mine collapse, so there's a shortage of supply, maybe other issues too. And so the options that CMS suggested was source your rock salt independently or remain on the state of Illinois procurement for emergency sourcing. And talking Bob and I and others, we didn't think that was a good idea just because you're at the mercy, and we didn't want to be in the winter months and be running out of salt. So we started investigating our options, and the Village of Manhattan was able to secure a supply from a vendor. They're getting a larger amount, so buying bulk, they're getting a better price. So we can still purchase the 300 tons that we usually do at a better rate. And ironically, this same supplier contacted us and offered us 300 tons at a higher rate. So that just shows that the group purchasing does work. It is over what we budgeted, but we think we can accommodate this with our just savings in some of the other projects. And we just feel like this is the best option, so we'll be prepared for the winter season. And Bob, if you want to add anything, but I know we work with the schools, and sometimes they've purchased salt from us. By us securing a supply, we're still in a position to help our fellow taxing body, whereas if I don't know what their plans would be otherwise, but they might be out of luck. So, and in talking to other communities, I think the expectation is the price is only going to get higher as we go deeper into the season if there's a shortage. So Bob, if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, this year I recommended to the school to jump on board with the state bid. They did, and obviously we didn't get a bid. So they're kind of in the same situation we are. So we'll continue to kind of work together. Obviously the village comes first, school comes second. But last year was an issue. I don't expect this year to be an issue unless this is a really bad winter. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
Do we have a lot left from last year?
about 75 ton left. What happened last year with the shortage? There was a shortage. We had snows in November, numerous snowstorms that started early. Is what happened last year. That's why there was a shortage last year.
Very good. Thank you.
So the other thing, normally this would be procured through the state bid, like I said, so that's a competitively bid process. This is more sourcing directly with a supplier, so this was not a formal competitive bid as far as we're aware. So as just to be on the up and up here, we would motion would be to waive competitive bidding and go with this agreement with Midwest Salt. And then you'll just vote for that. But I think this is warranted, and this is positions us well for the winter season. So, and I don't we didn't find anything cheaper. We found higher prices other places, so. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to waive competitive bidding and approve the resolution and go with Midwest Salt on this.
Second.
Motion Hudson, second Sandberg.
Trustee Bowden,
Yes.
trustee Hudson,
Yes.
trustee Richards.
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg.
Yes.
Here. And we get the mayor to vote too because we're short of her.
Okay, Mayor Vio.
Yes. I also need a motion to approve the resolution for authorizing the bulk sales with Midwest Salt.
That was part of the whole motion. Yes.
I mean, that was waiving competitive bidding and approving, so.
Yeah, it was all in one.
It's on.
Yeah.
Then we go to questions from the press. Any communications, correspondence, or petitions, anybody? There's no executive session. If there's no other comments or questions, we'll move on to the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sandberg, second Hudson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yay.
Thank you.